Hey everyone, Big D here. Look at what my lawyers did at the impeachment hearing. It was hashtag huge.
Mr. President, Senator Slanders is on the phone for you.
Geez, what does he want? I'm in the middle of a tweet.
He didn't say, sir.
Well, tell him I'm busy or something.
He's insisting on speaking with you, sir.
Fine, put him on.
You're on with the president, sir.
What do you want, Bernie? I'm in the middle of something.
You're going down, Mr. President! You're going down!
Who are you kidding, Bernie? You guys are looking like idiots.
After we impeach you, Mr. President, I'll see you in the debate.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I loved debating last time. Are you going to wear a red dress like Hillary did?
That's preposterous, Mr. President!
I thought you were for all those people.
Screw you, Mr. President!
I'll leave that to Stormy. Thanks for calling. Bye. Now I better tweet about this. Hey everyone, Big D here. Old Bertie with the funny hair just called me. Hashtag get a haircut. That was a good one.
The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the John Lebang Show. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me. We've got a lot to cover this hour. Everything from the coronavirus, impeachment, maybe even the little Harvey Weinstein. All this and other things are going on at the same time. But the coronavirus truly is the main story right now. We're looking at about 56 million people being quarantined in China at the moment, according to the latest news reports. Now, we have to judge the news reports with a grain of salt because, one, we're dealing with China, and two, we're dealing with the malpractice media. Now, according to the media and government sources, they're saying the coronavirus transmission, well, that its ability to do that is getting much stronger. Now, there can be a 1 to 14 day incubation period in which you might not even know you're sick. China, and we, again, stressing this, we have to take their numbers with a grain of salt, especially when you take into consideration you're talking 56 million people being quarantined. They say just under 2,000 people have been infected, and around 60 people have died. Now, the U.S. and other countries are trying to evacuate their staff, get them out of there. But here's the thing. There's been a claim by a nurse, a medic. There's a video of it, where she claims that there's over 100,000 people infected. Now, we're talking about China. And when dealing with China, a communist country ruled by an iron fist, there's no doubt, whatever they're telling us, we have to look at it with some discrimination. And if there's really 56 million people, I think it's 14 cities are quarantined. 14, ladies and gentlemen. 56 million people. Ask yourself, if that was the U.S., how many states would that encompass? Now, the other question is, did it really happen through the official story is on what caused it? But do we really know? Do they really know? Was it natural? Could it have been an accident? Because in Wuhan, there is a biocontainment facility, bioresearch facility there. Or was it some sort of a biological attack? The U.S. isn't, outside of pulling people out of there, they haven't stopped the travel from that. And I would do it. I would have done it immediately myself. And I'm wondering what Trump is thinking about. Because we've had a possible case in Seattle, one in Texas, and now there's another one in Orange County. And I do believe there was one in Chicago. Do we really know? Because we can't trust the media. And what can we do about this? As the average human being, are you going to live in fear over this? Well, I would say do what you can to keep yourself healthy. And if an outbreak happens, you got to stay home. Make sure you got some food, some water, things that can sustain you in case this becomes some kind of thing here in the States. Because if what they're telling us is true, and there are some opposing opinions from alternative media that I've watched, but the vast majority of the American people are going to believe what the government is telling them. So if what they're saying is true, this could be a problem. So basic common sense is do things to boost your immune system, and avoid large crowds. That's all you can really do until this thing is figured out. And if there's one case here and one case there, just by what the mainstream media is telling us and the officials who are telling us how this incubates, how this transfers, we could have a problem. Because if there's one here, there's going to be more here. Because if these people were traveling from China to the U.S. and had it, all those people on the plane that they came in contact with, the people at both airports, if they didn't have some kind of transferring, like in Hawaii or something, but whatever airports, all those people that they came in contact with could get it. In fact, if I had travel plans over the next few weeks, I would avoid them, and I would think of some ulterior way of going to where I want to go, or just skip it entirely. Now, I'm not doing this to scare anybody, because it's just common sense. If it's spreading in China, it's bad just by the government numbers. It's worse if what this nurse medic lady is telling us is true. And if there are confirmed cases in the U.S., it stands to common sense, ladies and gentlemen, that anybody they came in contact with through the airports, the airplanes, taxis, hotels, wherever they went, anybody they came in contact with is susceptible, especially if the crowds were big and there was a lot of close contacts. And I'm just some guy doing a podcast thing here. I'm no expert on any of this stuff. But I know there's a lot of information going on out there, and it's going to scare a lot of people, and it's going to frighten you. And then if you're watching the alternative media, they have no rambunctious on scaring you. In fact, they find ways to fearmonger in their own right. Maybe to get some extra clicks and stuff. Get people to share their videos because they make money. It's no big deal. I don't mind you making money. It's just how you do it. Mr. Cat Eye, if you don't go to YouTube, he's one of the few alternative media types that I'm still following because he's at least interesting. And he's not a jerk. I mean, he can be a grumpy old man, but who, at our age, us elderly folk, we can get a little testy. When we see bullcrap, I was going to shorten that, but we don't have to. When we see bullcrap coming out of people's mouths, and you know it's bullcrap, we're going to talk about some of that in the later segments of all the bullcrap that's been going on during the impeachment. But all I can say is, as we only have a few minutes left here in the first segment, just do your research, keep yourself well informed, stock up a few things, make sure you got some water and all the basics at home that you can wait out any trouble that might occur, not only in some kind of viral, biological, pandemic type of thing, but in any regards. Because we'll talk about this later. No matter what happens in the impeachment, somebody's going to be really mad. They're going to be outraged, actually. Now, the things that some of the conspiracy guys are talking about is that this was some kind of biological attack. And I haven't watched many of these guys because, in all honesty, I've given up on a lot of those alt types who find they're doing their thing, they're trying to make money, but they're not being honest as much as they're just being sensationalists. See, they can take some facts or take some information and blow it out of proportion. And we don't know enough about this coronavirus. There's all this public domain information, but who knows how accurate that is in this age of deception. The age of fake news, the age of sensationalizing everything. How do we know what information is correct and what isn't? There's always the concept that things happen because they want to achieve something. They being the rulers of the world. This coronavirus, if you're into those conspiracy concepts, this coronavirus could be something along that lines. All right, folks, going to take a quick break. More when we get back. We're going to talk impeachment. There's a lot to talk about there. Stay tuned.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than an operator convention.
Well, after maybe possibly the most boring and useless week in American history, we finally got to hear from the Trump defense. They only took 2 hours compared to the Democrats who have had 4.5 months and then took 24 hours to babble on about everything that we kind of already knew about, nothing really was explored during this 24 hours of filibustering, is all I could call it. And it's amazing. You see, you have to think the fix is in. Like, I smell a rat or something, because why is it that the Democrats got 3 days of nonstop, unbearable, repetitive, mind-numbing nonsense to spread and propagate on national TV? Why did they get so much time that there was no objecting to this, no objecting to that? They just went on and on and on. And then Trump's team, finally, after 4.5, 5 months, we hear from them. And in 2 hours, they eviscerate, they nuke, they destroy the entire narrative that the Democrat House managers have displayed, have fabricated and disseminated to the American people. And as just a layman, a person who's, I'm just me, just a little guy. As I sit here and watch, I knew before all this started that within 2 or 3 days, the American people would be done listening to this garbage. I didn't need the proceedings to even begin to know that unbearable presentation that Adam Schiff and Nadler and the entire society of House managers there were giving us. I mean, I literally sat through the entire first day of the Democrat presentation and I almost lost my mind because it was just so unbearable. And I knew it would only take 2 or 3 days for the American people to just give up listening. Why didn't the Republican Party, who is in charge of making the rules in the Senate, why didn't they do something where at least we didn't have to bear witness to this tomfoolery, this pettifogging? Thank you, John Roberts. I like that word, pettifogging. So the ratings keep falling. I think they lost 19% just after the first day. And it kept dropping. But what's even worse is the president's team is in day 4 of this. If you minus Tuesday, where they were just kind of setting up and swearing everybody in. And we'll get to that, I think, in a future episode. These people took oaths to tell the truth. And there's been so much lying from the House managers. So much. So by Saturday, when the Trump defense team finally gets to have their say, after all this time, people were totally tuned out. Why that? And I don't blame them. This whole thing was just one big menagerie of just garbage that they kept repeating and repeating and repeating. So by the weekend, nobody was going to care. They were done with it. The American people don't have that attention span. So why in blazes did Mitch McConnell set the rules up, and the Republican Party set the rules up this way? Then in 2 hours, the Trump team eviscerated, nuked the entire narrative of the Democrat House managers. And some of the most dazzling parts of these so-called 24, 23, whatever hours the Democrats had to bloviate, to filibuster, to just put us in this trance. You know, there's an old saying, if you tell a lie enough times, people are going to start believing it. That's what they hoped. And why the Republicans in the Senate allowed that? Well, you could say, I don't know why, but you know, there's a lot at stake here, folks. And if Trump is really trying to get to the root of corruption, then it's very possible a great deal of these Republicans are in on the cash grab, in on the corruption. God bless Lindsey Graham, who's been a pretty good mouthpiece for the president during this whole Senate debauchery, whatever the damn word is. He doesn't want to go into anything. He just wants to get this over and move on. And although I do agree that it was the House's case, the House had to make the case. And if they can't make the case in these opening statements, then there's no reason to have more witnesses at all. You got to show a case that's infallible. And Saturday, the president's team just destroyed the entire argument. They put things into context. Little quotes. You know, Adam Schiff was having these little sound bites of Trump, or little parts from the hearings. Well, the Republicans filled in the gaps after that, put things into context, especially with the Sutherland. It's the guy's name, bald-headed guy. I didn't like that guy. He seemed like a real prick. But even him, in his testimony, although he kept saying he presumed the president, he had made a presumption of the president, which the Trump lawyers did a great job at displaying on Saturday. But even in his own words, he said that Trump never wanted a quid pro quo. That's what he told me. So, you know, just in that little soundbite there, and that was only, you know, a few minutes of listening to presumption and all this. You know, the Republicans got to put on somewhat of the same kind of presentation that the Democrat House managers put on, except they did it in 2 hours. Now, they're going to have more time throughout Monday and Tuesday to expand on what they did Saturday. But what they did Saturday was basically destroy the entire narrative of the Democrat House impeachment. And in fact, I think what they'll probably do throughout the week is then expand on how the presidents of the past did many of the same things, and they probably can pull transcripts. You know, I mean, Trump, if you haven't thought about this is just me. Have somebody look through all the White House transcripts throughout the history. I mean, you could probably just do it during the Obama administration and during the Clinton administration. And you can put in Bush there as well. Just have somebody go through all those transcripts and then start releasing them. Every time there was some kind of executive doing what the Democrats are calling a quid pro quo, but what I would generally call the president doing his job, making sure that other countries that we are dealing with and getting money of ours isn't just throwing that money away in some form of corruption, and making sure that Americans aren't part of the corruption. That's exactly what I see in that phone call, the transcript that was released. And even the Democrats aren't totally arguing that. They're just saying it was to go after Biden because he's a presidential candidate. But does that make him free of scrutiny? Does that make him free of investigations when there clearly is a conflict of interest there, at least from my point of view, that Hunter Biden got millions of dollars from one of the most corrupt companies inside the Ukraine that was making money off the $1 billion that U.S. aid was being given to them. So he's making money off U.S. aid by working for a company that he had no experience in, no background, nothing. And when he's being investigated, the vice president at the time, Joe Biden, threatens to withhold $1 billion in aid if they don't fire the prosecutor that's investigating the company that Hunter Biden works for. Circumstantial, I'm sure. That means nothing at all. Hunter Biden's there because he's a great guy. He's an awesome dude. Cool to hang out with and everything. They just wanted to give the guy a job that made millions of dollars that he had no background, no interest in at all. And Joe Biden firing the prosecutor that was investigating him had nothing to do with that at all. That guy was corrupt. And even if he was a corrupt guy, it seems pretty convenient for Hunter that guy gets fired. And let's not forget, Joe's brother made millions in Iraq. Other family members, while he was either a senator or vice president, while he was an important person inside the government, other family members made lots of money. There's a new book out on that. We'll probably talk about that in the next segment, but we're running on a break right now. So, folks, hang in there. We've got a whole lot more coming up on this. I've got so many more thoughts on the impeachment and what might be happening, what might not be happening, just from the guy that, nobody follows. Nobody trusts my word because, hey, I'm a nobody. But, the best thing about being a nobody is that nobody can control me. Nobody can tell me what to tell you people to think. I don't even try to tell you. I tell you, check out what I'm saying. Make it up, make up your own mind yourself. Because in the end, that's all you got. You can't trust anybody but yourself. We'll be right back. Hang in there, folks. Won't be long.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is your one-stop shop for tuxedos and men's quality suits. We go the extra mile to make sure your tux or suit is the perfect fit. Our huge selection is second to none in the state.
Looking good.
Outstanding customer service.
And we're located on Dix Toledo in Southgate. Call today, 734-285-3253.
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is the place to be.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to Jim's Tuxedos and Menswear.
You know I had to come to the best.
That's right.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
So now let's talk about Mr. Adam Shifty Schiff for just a moment. Because many of you didn't waste your time by sitting through the hours and hours and hours of BS that the Democrat Party, and Adam Schiff in particular, presented to the Senate. Well, you probably missed soundbite number 2.
The president's misconduct
cannot be decided at the ballot box.
So, Adam Schiff
The president's misconduct
says you can't wait to get to the election
cannot be decided at the ballot box.
because Donald Trump's probably going to win. I mean, he didn't say it in those words, but that's what he is saying. You can't leave it to the American people to vote because Donald Trump is going to win, as the banger has told you for a long time. Not because I'm a Trump supporter. That's what's in the cards.
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
How can you say that, John? Well, there's a lot of evidence that this is all just some kind of scripted drama for everybody to pay attention to distract us from other things.
The president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
If we're focused on this and the entire government is doing this, then, well, they ain't working and we can't complain that they're not working. Just that in itself should be striking. Everybody in the government, minus the president, he has a presence there. He's the only one getting anything done, by the way. Some of the things I like, some I don't. And some of the things I'm wondering why he isn't doing. Like shutting the borders down and not allowing any travel to come in from China or anywhere else in that region. In fact, there'd be a whole list of nations that I would just put on this travel ban. But outside of Donald Trump, who's getting some things done, some positive, some to me. A lot of people like the stuff that I'm just, it doesn't matter. While this is happening, the entire rest of the government is engaged in impeachment. All of it. Democrat, Republican, House, Senate, everybody is busy on that and not getting any other work done. And there's a lot of work to do. Now, of course, the Democrats are doing this because they don't want to be scrutinized for not getting anything done when the president is accomplishing things. And if he had some help from the House, any help from the House, smidgens of help, much more positive things would have happened for the country. And again, I'm not a big Trump guy as far as Mr. Support for him. You're not going to see me go to those rallies and rah-rah Trump. When he does something good, I'm going to say it. When he does something crappy, I'm going to tell you about it. But in that soundbite that Adam Schiff says during a impeachment trial,
the president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
You can't leave it up to the voters because Donald Trump, these are my words, I'm going to pull Adam Schiff on you a little bit and make it up just a little bit, except it's the context is correct, unlike Adam Schiff. Donald Trump's going to win the next election because our candidates suck. And because our candidates suck, Donald Trump is going to win the election, and we can't let that happen. And because many of you on the Republican side are as dirty as us on the Democrat side, you need to join with us before Donald Trump has a mandate after the next election to eviscerate the swamp. That is, if we're not dealing with some sort of Hegelian dialectic where even Trump is part of the illusion that is taking place in front of us. It's very scripted. Everybody's playing their part. If you watch the interviews in between when they're taking breaks, it's the same people coming out, and they're very well scripted. They know exactly what to say, and they don't stray from it. But as I said earlier, finally, Trump's defense team got to say something. 2 hours they nuked the entire House manager's case. They used sound bites from their own inquiry. They used sound bites. The president used sound bites from the House inquiry to nuke their case. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And even more beautiful is that they did it in 2 hours and they didn't have to drag it on all day and filibuster just to brainwash the rest of us into thinking their argument was correct. They didn't have to do that. All they did was go up there, succinctly eviscerate it all. They talked about the constitutional requirements of a president. What he's supposed to do, like investigate corruption, no matter who it is. They took all those sound bites the Democrats played for the news media and the people to digest, and they put them all into context by, using those same sound bites, but giving you the full context of what was being said. Now the talk. We'll get about 2 more days of this. Probably 2 or 3 hours on Monday, 2 or 3 hours on Tuesday. I don't expect the Trump defense team to drag this out. One, because I think they're trying to be a little courteous to the senators who had to listen for hours upon hours sitting there. You can't leave. I mean, you can only leave to go to the toilet and come back. Take a 5-minute break from the blabbering of Schiff, Nadler, and the rest of the political hacks that comprise the House manager group. So we'll get 2 or 3 days, probably 2 days of this. Then they're going to have questions. Maybe for both sides. I don't know how those questions are going to work out exactly. They'll decide if they want witnesses. And there's somebody like, the new John McCain, of course, Mitt Romney, the new John McCain. Mitt Romney might want to hear from witnesses, additional witnesses. Okay. If the entire Democrat narrative has been destroyed, obliterated, rendered impotent, then why do we need more witnesses? Some people are talking about, we might need them. We might need them for the fact that we can get Hunter Biden and Joe Biden in here. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you who are thinking that, please let me remind you that every time an Obama administration person was brought up in front of some kind of hearing, they used the Fifth Amendment. They pleaded the Fifth as to not incriminate themselves. Hunter Biden is going to do that very same thing. Why wouldn't he? I can't answer that. I plead the Fifth Amendment. So trading witnesses, maybe, to get like John Bolton in there or somebody else, McIlvaney, get one of those guys to come in so you can get Hunter or maybe the whistleblower. The whistleblower, we are pretty sure we know who he is. Not only did he work with the Obama administration, I mean, he's a Democrat. And he didn't want to see the Obama administration's, well-being, their money train, because I think this whole Ukraine thing is so much bigger. If you can just pull that string just enough, you might be able to actually drain the swamp. put a lot of people in jail for being corrupt. I mean, I don't know. The hope is there. You hope Trump is there to do that, but you don't know. Because it's been a slow ride. And yes, the opposition has been there. But please, the opposition may be there just to invoke what we so lovely call, so happily call here, not really, we don't like it, the Hegelian dialectic. We don't know. Trump used to be a Democrat. He was friends with Hillary. The whole staged opera that we've been engaged in for the past 3.5, 4 years could be there just to keep everybody occupied. I'm not saying that's what it is. I don't know. But there are signs. Like, why do the Democrats get 3 days of unmitigated, unstopped, unchallenged filibustering, and then the president gets a couple hours on a Saturday? Weird things like that. Like they just want to keep everybody tied up in everything else so that nothing, and outside of the president doing what he's doing, nothing is getting done in the government. Absolutely nothing. They're too busy with impeachment. And is that to keep the focus off of a group of people because they can't get anything done? They don't want to get anything done positive for the government? Because you have to wonder, Trump has gotten so much done on certain fronts that you're like, you stand in amazement at past administrations, and you've got to wonder, like, why does it take so long to get anything done? Donald's showing it, just all you have to do is do it, and it gets done. And again, I'm not for everything he's gotten done, and I'm not and there are some things I do cheer that he's gotten done, but he gets it done. So he's showing that the bureaucracy of the government, at least in a small way, he's showing that the bureaucracy of the government wastes time. Is that just to keep them fat and happy? Because if Donald Trump is for real, and we hope he is, that he's really trying to root out corruption, then these people are going to do everything they can up into impeachment and maybe something even more vicious if this doesn't work before the election. And we may touch on that in the next segment. We've got to take another time out. Please stay tuned. One more segment this week, or this hour, on the John LeBang Show.
Smoke them if you got them.
Because the John LeBang Show will be right back
after this.
That's guaranteed. Yes.
Absolute Skin and Body Care, located in Livonia, Michigan. If you're in need of laser hair removal, skin care, laser tattoo removal, or laser hair regrowth, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Their phone number is 248-533-0448. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Give them a call.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
It's huge. Now I got to tweet about it.
Everything involved with this impeachment, in fact, everything involved with the government, is extremely convoluted. And it's this big old puzzle that we, little people, have to try to figure out to know who's telling us the truth, and we don't know who's telling us the truth. With that being said, I have a few more things on the impeachment before we try to touch on the Ukraine just a little bit. Why is it that the Democrats are so upset that Trump was asking about Biden, yet that's some kind of conflict of interest ladies and gentlemen. That's some kind of conflict of interest, and that's what the impeachment is about. Yet, 4 of the Democrat presidential candidates are going to be able to vote on not only witnesses, but if Donald Trump is going to be impeached. Isn't that a conflict of interest? How is it that in a political rival like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, or Michael Bennet can vote to oust their political opponent and even furthermore take him off the ballot? Because that is what Schiff and the Democrats want. They want him off the ballot. How is it that 4 Democrat senators who are running for president can vote on that? That's a conflict of interest. They need to recuse themselves, go and not be there. They shouldn't even be allowed to vote. And Democrat people will complain that that's unfair. They're senators and that's what it's about. But there's a conflict of interest there. If that's the case, if they have to be there for impeachment, maybe they should recuse themselves from the presidential campaign. One or the other. One or the other. They either get to vote and can't run for president because Donald Trump, the person they're trying to impeach, is the president and will be running against them. And if they take him out, if they are successful for some reason on taking him out, that's not a conflict of interest. They're not politically motivated to eliminate Donald Trump, the guy that's going to wipe the floor with all of them. And it's amazing. Bernie should want that fight. Bernie should want that fight because he got screwed by the Democrat Party in the last presidential election. And he's gaining steam, and they're stuck. He can't go back out on the campaign trail. See, now you got to think that this is also politically motivated by the timing. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Klobuchar, and Bennett can't go out there and campaign right now because they're stuck in the Senate. So Joe Biden, the guy, Adam Schiff, and the entire Democrat Party, and I'm convinced of this, is trying to protect. Because if he goes down, the connections, all the little dots are going to be filling in, and a whole lot more people are going to be outed for being corrupt. It's very possible. And I think some of those Republicans, i.e. like a Mitt Romney, but whoever, I shouldn't just say Mitt Romney, but whoever, there are dirty Republicans too. And they stand to lose if the corruption in the swamp is exposed. Now we had some recent events happen that go right around this. Just recently, in an article that I posted on my Facebook page, is this article that states unequivocally 2 of 4 FISA warrants against Carter Page declared invalid. See, those were the FISA warrants that allowed spying on Carter Page, which in its extension of that got them to be able to listen in on the Trump phone calls. Remember when Trump was saying they wiretapped him at Trump Tower? Well, we're finding out that was illegal. The FBI and the FISA courts have admitted that 2 of those initial warrants for surveillance, listening in, spying on these people were illegal. So that means all the evidence that was obtained during that period through those warrants is invalid. Not only it proves that there were some illegalities happening inside the FBI, further proving, as we've seen with all the emails and everything that came out during some of the early hearings about the Russian collusion that the Congress was doing there. But what's funny is, the reason I'm going here is we've got a new troll, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a new troll, and I'd like to allow everybody to give a big, warm welcome to Stolid Sylvia. You see, Stolid Sylvia, who somehow just randomly came across my page that posted the article for what I was just telling you about. She's not a person who's liked my page. She's just some random person. I don't know where she came from. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Well, she came across the article and she began to make points, let's say. See, Stolid Sylvia first comment on my post was, so what is the FBI to do if the president's administration had 200 contacts look the other way? So right there, she's saying it was okay to illegally obtain search warrants to spy on the president, because when you do it illegally, it's called spying. It's not called surveillance. But whatever. My rebuttal is pretty simple on that one, ladies and gentlemen. It's real easy. Contacts. So Trump has 200 contacts. Okay. Trump is a businessman, and he probably knows 200 or so people from almost every country there is. Hillary, Obama, and Biden probably have all the same kind of contacts, as many as Trump does, with Russians and whoever. In fact, we know they do, because the Steele dossier, which was Democratic Hillary Clinton opposition research on the Trumpster, had all these falsalities in it. Did I just make up a word? I don't know. But if I did, I like that word, falsality. But I'm usually not that smart to make up words. Those people know all these people. Now, the FBI, the FBI lied to obtain FISA warrants, okay, to spy on a U.S. citizen. To me, as an American, this should scare all of us, that they could do that. But to Stolid Sylvia, her response were, and this is beauty, other countries, that's because I said they know people from 200 people from other countries. She says other countries are not the same as Russia. Whoa, what an argument there. But she continues. The FBI knew Russia was hacking into our elections, and the red flags went up as the Trump campaign had so many contacts and meetings with Russians. Of course, they're going to look into it. Sylvia, Stolid Sylvia, please, critical thinking here, if I may. They did the surveillance illegally. They've admitted to it. So you're saying that it's okay to look into somebody illegally if you just have suspicions. It's okay for the government to look into somebody because they have suspicions, no concrete evidence. Well, that's why we got to use the search warrants, is to find concrete evidence. We got to go on a fishing expedition because we don't have the evidence. And because we don't like this guy, we think he's bad for whatever reason, as we saw with texts and emails and how Comey's been talking about him. These guys didn't want Trump. They didn't like Trump. So they obtained warrants illegally, lied about it, so that they could check up on him and find dirt. See, they didn't have anything. They had to find dirt to make their case. But whatever. Sylvia's response to that, because, well, she had to continue to filibuster with arguments that really didn't have a whole lot of merit. But hey, we're going to share them with you. Her response is, no spying was done. Legal surveillance. The wrong words can spin things. She's telling me I'm trying to spin things, right? Except that the FISA court and the FBI now admit that they illegally did it. So legal surveillance is not something that you do illegally. So what they were doing was spying. Simple as that, folks. But then she gets all upset. I know the right, because she thinks I'm a right-winger of some sort, but I know the right is trying so hard to discredit our FBI, which she thinks is a disgrace, folks. Of course, she doesn't remember that her entire side, when the FBI just came out with the Hillary stuff for a little bit, they got all outraged at the FBI, calling them a sham and everything. But hey, that when they're on your side, they're cool. When they call you out, they're bad. That's Democrat thinking for you. A lot of people's thinking. But, she's basically saying there were lawsuits against Trump, and there's charges against him, and there's all kinds of other things that can be leveled without any basis. You can make a lawsuit on somebody, but if you lose the lawsuit, that means that lawsuit was baseless. Now, you can throw charges at a whole lot of people, and I've had them thrown at me. You can throw charges all you want at people. That doesn't make it fact. And in fact, the Mueller report pretty much cleared the president of any wrongdoing, and with 2, 3, 4 years of investigations, however long that Trump has been investigated on every front known to man, the dude has come out clean. So, I don't know, folks. Either they're playing some giant hoax on us, and I'm talking the world powers, or Trump's pretty clean overall. With that being said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze in the Ukraine timeline, but we're going to have to get to that probably in the next episode. Stay tuned for that. We're at the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry I have to rush on out of here, but there was so much to talk about that it just got all piled in real quick, and we're at the end of the show. And from the fastest hour in all media, this is John Lebang signing off for now from the Banger Studios.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance is futile.